Now that we're all logged in and we know how to create a new design, let's figure out how we can start to build a 3D model. So one thing to keep in mind about the prints is that the 3D printer itself has a surface that is about 6 inches by 6 inches. So width and length, that's about as big as you can make something. Now, the other side of that is, in order to accommodate every student being able to print, we limit student prints to a size that can print in an hour. So that means that more than likely, even if you make something that big, it will not end up printing that size because we will scale it down. However, where I'm going with this is we can control the scale. So you make it as big as you want here, and we can scale it down from there. It's much easier for us to do that than for you to work in a really small space. If you do want to make something a specific size, we can always accommodate if there's a actual purpose you're trying to make it that size. So how do you resize an object? So I have my square here, and I got that by just clicking and dragging and pulling it from the side. And then you can resize this object in several ways. You've got these white boxes where you can click and drag on those, and they'll make the shape wider and skinnier. If you hold down the Shift key while you drag, it will keep it the ratio that it is. So everything will expand together instead of just expanding like that. It works the same way if you're dragging out or if you're dragging up. It expands the whole cube. That's if I'm holding Shift. The other thing you can do is if you click on a direction that you want to make it bigger, and let's say it's this width here, you can click on that, and then you can click down here and you can actually type in a number. Currently we're in millimeters, so that is what you're going to want to keep in mind, that if you don't know how big 32 millimeters is, maybe consult a ruler, and then you'll get an idea of how big that would be printed. So then you can just type it in, hit enter, and it will increase by that amount. So you can do your width, you can do your length, and then you can also do height and make things taller. You also have different ways to rotate depending on how you're viewing this. So keep in mind that this is a 3D model. You can only see 2 dimensions at a time. It's a flat computer screen. So how do you see all 3 dimensions? Up here in the top left is a box, and you can click and drag on that box to rotate and see different angles of your shape. Notice how when we are in this position, we can see 3 different curved arrows. These allow you to rotate an object in different ways. And then you can just click and drag to rotate that. I don't know if you've learned a lot about angles yet, but like 90 degrees is a right angle. If you want to completely flip something, that's going to be 180 degrees. And if you go all the way around, instead of 360, it'll just go back to 0. And then you can rotate on all of these axes. Now there's one more shape out of all of those that I didn't mention. Maybe you're pointing it out right now. I didn't talk about this arrow. What does that arrow do? Remember, we're working in 3 dimensions. That means we have a length and we have a width, but then we also have a height. We can go up. So objects have the ability to go up, and to make them go up, you have to click and drag on this arrow, and you can drag them up or down. This allows you to take an object and place it on top of a different one. And then you just merely have to look and make sure it's not floating. That's one issue we encounter a lot. So now we have an object on top of another object. And that uses this arrow right here. So those are the main transformations of your shape. You'll notice that we have this open over here. This is the property inspector. So when you click on a shape, it has a little property inspector over here. You can choose to lock this shape with this, and then you won't be able to edit it anymore, which sometimes is helpful so it doesn't move. If you click on this drop down, you'll see what color it is. The color doesn't matter because it will be chosen by the printer. We only have one color of filament at a time that prints. You can tinker with some of these options here, such as radius. This is where you'll end up with more of a sphere. Steps is how much the border is defined. And then there's your length, width, and height measurements as well that you can tinker with. And then there's solid and hole. We'll talk more about holes in the next video. So at this point, you'll just be continuing to drag out shapes. You'll see how you have a lot of options over here. And you'll just continue to combine them to create what you want. Some popular ones include this text tool. If you want to write your name, you can use the text tool. And you're able to type something. You have some fonts to choose from in here, and a few fun little ways to alter the look and feel of that. Scribble is another one that is popular. With this one, you more or less get to draw your own shape. So I'll put Scribble down, and then draw. My circles are not great. But it'll take this flat drawing, and you can see the preview here is now making it a three-dimensional shape. And now we have that as a 3D shape. So there's a lot going on. And let's take this time to end this video. And we'll continue the next one with some advanced skills to take your designs to the next level.